Gary, did the link come?
Yes, it did. Thank you very much.
Perfect. You should always get one a week before.
Yeah, I didn't get anything. I kind of had to go back through my my emails, and I don't know what happened.
That's okay.
Yeah.
The good thing is that the one usually comes an hour before. That's the one that's more important. People always forget about the one the week before.
Yeah. How have you been?
I'm here.
Yeah.
How have you been?
Oh, pretty good. We lost my sister
Oh no.
a week ago. Yeah, it's been tough.
Oh, Gary, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, she fought for 4 years, but we thought we had more time, and then she just suddenly went. It was just so yeah, it's been a little rough, but we're hanging in. We're hanging in.
Was she local or?
Yeah, she lived in Fenton.
Okay.
Yeah, my younger sister. So anyway, but yeah. Hey, how long? I've lost all track. How long do we serve our positions?
Oh, it depends on when you were appointed and whether you filled someone's unfilled position. So hold on. I will tell you when you're up. So it looks like you expired and she might not have asked you. I know a lot of the renewals got kind of wonky. So typically it's a 3-year term.
That's what I thought.
And then, but what you did is you served, initially served for an unfilled term that someone had left before they finished. And so then you should have been put onto a schedule that would have had you expire in November of 2022.
Okay.
Did you get a reminder?
I don't recall that.
Okay. I will ask Katie to send you something.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a few renewals that were all up in 2020 that we'll need to get you guys all back up.
Okay.
Can you guys see me?
Nope.
Nope.
But you can hear me. That's all that really matters.
Yep.
Why can't you see me? Got video. Start video. Come on, baby.
It's just a black box.
Yes, it is. I see it too. My camera is on. Oh, there we are. Something happened. Perfect.
Morning, Ron.
Morning, guys. I'm just like picking at the camera. What's going on there?
So Ron, do you never get the reminder the hour before with your direct link?
I do not.
Okay.
I mean, I do. It's usually like when I get to work.
Okay. Yeah, because you're coming in as an attendee and I have to move you over.
Okay.
So your direct link should pop you right in.
I got you. Okay. Yeah, no, I usually go. Fran sends out the agenda, and on there you click, which then takes you to the city's website, and that's how I click in.
Yeah, that gets you to the public link versus your own.
Oh, my private link.
Yeah, that puts you directly in.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't there this morning when I just was on email a minute ago, so.
That's okay. Usually comes in, like mine came in at 7:02 a.m. So usually almost exactly 1 hour before.
Okay.
Just making sure that everyone's getting their links properly.
Okay.
You actually technically have a quorum.
But it's only 7:59.
Yes. Don't want to start early.
No. I do have to leave here at 45 after. So hopefully that would not be a problem.
Let's try to be quick.
We will, don't worry. Mara's like, good.
I was on Zoom from 8:30 a.m. until 4:15 p.m. yesterday. So I am really good to not be on very long today.
I got you. All right, I'll work on it. Trust me. All right, 8 o'clock, we got a quorum. Okay, approval of the February minutes.
Proof.
I approve and move to pass to approve them and
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed? Okay, there we go. Visitors' comments.
You have no visitors.
Great. Business.
So budget, do you guys need me to go back over the current budget or just go straight to the draft of the proposed budget?
Let's just, I think we can just go through to the draft, right, guys?
I think so.
So just as a reminder, for this budget year, we were looking at this column right here off to the side of the money to be spent. When we discussed it last month, our conversation was about a couple little things that might need to be increased or reduced. And then we'd looked at a few things that the Parks Department had come up with. I deleted completely. We talked about possibly hanging baskets. We took those out. But we had talked with the Parks Department about making some changes to 3 different areas: the street trees in front of Straub's, taking those trees out that were not doing well and actually moving them back to a different location, which would also require some concrete work. We talked about the landscape island between Straub's and Robust, and we talked about the area in front of the parking lot over by Dewey's. All of those, after talking with Public Works and talking with Parks Department, would not include needing any money from your budget. The trees can be replaced using the tree fund, and Public Works can cover the small concrete areas. So nothing needed to be added to your budget for those 3 projects. Trash cans, I still don't have an exact number, but I was using a number that we think is relatively accurate. So I used some numbers and sort of made the assumption that maybe you want to do 4 cans with some replacements. Public Works also said that if we can get some new cans in place and they can actually take some of the old cans back to their shop and order some parts and have more time to make some repairs, they technically could make some repairs to some of those and make them actually work, and then put them as sort of backup or secondary locations. But I think we'd kind of talked about the possibility of maybe ordering 4. If you did do that, you'd need $43.30 in your budget. I left in pretty much everything for advertising, which includes the BDC holiday package, social media, advertising in the Webster Kirkwood Times, assuming that you're doing open house, whereas last year you did the banners for those other 2 special events, and we didn't do the open house. Doing the street dance, the festival stage, and then some other general advertising. So the thought would be, if you wanted to, in operational equipment, you usually put in 3,000 for streetlights. That would leave you another 6,000 for trash cans and an odd bench if you needed to. If you left this at 24,000, that would cover all of your advertising that you'd done in the past. The only numbers I bumped up already were the operating transfer out, which is I bumped up the actual man hours get bumped up by a small percentage for cost of living, but everything else remained the same in terms of plants coming out. And then I thought about lowering slightly streetlights and upping disposal services. Those are two that you might want to look at. Disposal services have been going up ever so slightly.
Okay, I am going to put in my 2 cents. I'd still like to ask for $4,500 for the Jazz Fest this
Oh, I
year.
apologize. You did say that. So if you put that as Jazz Festival, which would include stage and something else, that would be 25.
I'm muted, but
Bill, did you need us to mute
you can
you?
hear her.
Bill, are you having a problem with Zoom? I don't know what's going on with
Testing
Bill.
speaker, do you hear a ringtone? You know,
I'm going to mute him for the moment. I'm not sure what problems he's having right now. Sorry, so I just used on the working copy, I just bumped this up to be 4,500. Which would then put this at 25,500. And then potentially you might want to bump up disposal services. I'm looking at what we have on disposal this year. Currently 2021, we had only, oh, I see. Sorry, I did something a little strange. So currently your disposal services for this budget year were 1,380, which is why I bumped them up to 1,600 in case they increase the fees, which I assume it's going to come next month. And then the street lights, we've not spent as much. So I bumped it down to 1,400 from 1,600. So those are two that I had changed from last year. Any other thoughts?
I think it all looks good.
I move to pass as it's printed out right now.
I will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, here we go.
Thank you. Oh, and I forgot. So I don't want to forget, and we'll have money in the budget to still do it. One of the things you had asked for, so I didn't need to put any money in for us to do any work for Parks Department. I did, and I've been working with Strive, which kind of ties into the rooftop lights for the next one. I've been working with Strive, and I think we would be able to, I'm going to share a screen on the lighting calculations. So just so that you all can see, when I worked with Strive initially, I kind of had taken the bills that they'd done before, and I had seen, some of them were, hey, we had to spend a lot more money on the install because of how complicated the roof was. But on other ones, it was pretty simple. So I had asked them, I'd kind of come to an average, and I had run some lighting costs with them saying, okay, if I have, for example, 90 feet in length, what would that mean in terms of the total install cost? And then what would that mean in terms of the owner's share of what we would do? So what I did with them is I ended up coming up with a linear foot cost. So the lights itself were $2.13 a foot. And then the install cost was about $6.63 per foot, which would give us a total amount of what it would be. And then there was a 50% share from that amount, or there was a way that I kind of worked out what that share was. So then when we did that, we kind of figured out what the phases would be and how much everything would be. This is an old spreadsheet. When I worked with them again for both Old Orchard and Old Webster, I kind of talked with them about the possibility of, okay, can we just have a flat rate like this? So some of the buildings they would lose a little bit of money on because they were more complicated, and some of the buildings they would, maybe make a little bit more. So it all kind of evened out, and they were okay with that, even when they had to kind of come out and do some other things. So I had been continuing to work with this same set of numbers for install costs and trying to figure out what we would need to do for those. They were okay with that. And so then when I went through on different phases to see what buildings we had to do, how much money we needed to put aside, I wanted to work with them on the same thing again, but because the install cost should be less if all we have to do is replace the strands, I was going to get some new numbers for them for strand replacement, which we'd already talked about. So we're probably still looking at the same cost of $2.13 for the light cost itself. But I'm going to try to get a reduction on the amount for the other piece. So anyway, I'm going to continue to work with them. I had an email in with them because I know that the Joe and Bill's building and Ron's building is out again. And I've put in a call to them for that one, as well as the winter storm when it was really cold, did some damage on 2 other buildings. So I'm needing them to come out for both of those. So the last email I had with them is they're supposed to be calling someone's supposed to be calling me to schedule all 3 of those buildings for repairs. And then I have them on the list to work out a bid for the new Olive and Oak building and to get that one onto the schedule. So I'm kind of working on all of that together with Stribe, and I should have some more information hopefully next month. So that's kind of the lighting update.
Yeah, I think driving through at night now, it looks really nice. Of course, there's some bulbs out and such like that, but it really does. It's really noticeable now that almost all the buildings are lit. I think it's awesome.
So the ones with bulbs out are the old strands that had the water issue, and I think it'll actually be less expensive to replace the strand than it would be to have them come up and put the bulbs in, because the last time we had them come up and do that, they had to sit there and scrape out of each little area to where the water had gotten in. And then by the time they spent all their hours sitting there scraping to get a new bulb in to get it to work, we probably could have had the strand replaced.
Right.
So that would be our next. I still think that there are some areas where they need to go in on the newer strands and fix a couple bulbs. So I'm going to try to see and talk with them about some sort of rate that I can get where it won't be as much for them to go in and kind of replace some of the bulbs, and then try to figure out what we could do in the lower amount, that if the clips are already there, that they're just clipping in the new strand, and try to see what we can get for that one.
All right, looks like Bill and Fran are still muted.
Is Bill trying to talk?
No, but I'm unmuted.
Yeah, a lot of people go ahead and keep it muted because their background noise can cause echoes.
All right.
So that's budget, that's rooftop lights. Something back on old business that just came up that I didn't have a chance to put on the agenda, the Rockwood parking.
Mm-hmm.
So took what you gave us last month, took it back to the police department. They said, great, thanks, let's get it moving. And when they went to research what ordinance they had to repeal in order to change it to the 3-hour parking so that it'd be a little bit longer, a little more time, they ended up finding out there are actually no restrictions on that block. So even though there's a sign up and probably there's a sign up because it's a decorative pole. There is actually no ordinance requiring parking restrictions at all on that block. So in order to move forward, they'd actually have to put parking restrictions in place into an area that has none now. So they wanted to make sure you guys wanted to do that.
When I walk by there, it doesn't have any restrictions. It just says Webster Groves parking. It doesn't say 2 hour or anything.
There's a 2-hour sign at the very end of the block. So I actually looked at it yesterday to try to figure out, hold on, I'm going to do a quick Google Street View and see if it shows up on there. But I drove by yesterday because I knew we were going to talk about it this morning. And it's actually, hold on, I'm going to share this screen. So see this lovely little sign right here?
Oh,
There's a 2-hour sign right at the end of the block. But I would agree with you. There's no other signs along here. But there's a 2-hour right here. And then there's a 2-hour right down here because it's on the decorative signs. So police department wants to know if you want to go ahead and put restrictions in place, because it's going to end up meaning that there will need to be new signs, because right now we just have the decorative 2-hour signs. We don't have decorative 3-hour signs. In addition, that whole area actually has no restrictions.
Then why have people gotten tickets?
Because the signs were up and the police department believed that there was an ordinance. No one realized there wasn't an ordinance in that area because the signs were up.
Why did the signs go up?
Probably because they're decorative poles. The decorative poles have an arm on them and the sign goes on the arm. It's on every one of the decorative poles.
But I mean, why does it even say anything about 2 hours if there's no restriction?
Well, it's only this block that there are no restrictions. That's what I'm trying to say. All of your other streets that have decorative poles have a 2-hour restriction on them already. So when the Public Works Department put those up, they put them up based on where all the poles were. I don't think anyone realized, and I think it's probably been up for years.
they've been up for 15 years, I'll bet.
Yes. So I don't think anyone realized that there was no restrictions on this little stretch down here. And the signs have been up because they were on the decorative poles.
My suggestion would be we take the signs down and then do nothing.
Right.
I agree.
Be the
Is there another spot we could put them? I mean, somewhere else in the district?
There are a couple of signs that need replacement. They can be used.
So let's just go ahead and take them down, and then we'll just see what happens and see if a whole bunch of restaurant employees start parking there. And then when they complain to us again that they don't have parking, then we'll have to revisit it that time. But we're going to be revisiting it again one way or the other at that point. So
I will let the police department know. And I'll confirm that it's that entire section. We'll look at the ordinances one more time and make sure it's that entire section, and it's not just the part in front of the Rockwood, that it's in front of the Rockwood and in front of that other parking lot.
Joe, can you email Mara the locations of the signs that need to be replaced? So when they take them down, those are expensive. I remember when they're put up, so we don't lose them.
Yeah, well, if that's a worry, have them drop them off to me and I'll store them, but I'll look around in the next week or so and see.
I'll also have Frank from Public Works look. They're intimately aware as they keep going up and down for dealing with different stuff. They took them all down during when we did all that temporary parking at the beginning of last spring, and stored them all safely and put them back up. So it might be slightly different, Joe, than the last time you remember which ones were in bad condition. And they
Right.
might have actually put the ones back up based on ones that they thought were in the best condition, because they all came down when you
Right.
guys changed that temporary parking.
The signs look good, and if you look and you get anything on any of your feeds, your social media feeds, they start with, or part of that 13-second feed is that sign, or welcome to Webster sign. So I think Waremark Creative did those along with Graphica, but
yeah, in graphics, I believe it was, but
anyway, we should be looking at some point either adding or purchasing, not in this budget, but how everything is like a little slow, takes a little bit of time. But if we put it in our calendar for maybe next budget, to purchase a couple, because I know they're reasonably expensive, but they're very nice looking. And I think we should stay with the same kind of theme.
I
Did
can go ahead.
we ask Rockwood if it makes any difference to them, if it in any way impacts them positively or negatively?
Well, they already wanted full-time, no restriction at the last meeting.
Yeah, they requested it.
And we decided to go to 3-hour parking as a compromise, but now I think just go ahead and give it to them and we'll just see what happens.
And then Bill, I will go ahead, because I can put a folder aside for the 2023 budget. I'll put some notes in my 2023 folder so that I have them for next year to remind us about the signs.
Also, back in the day, in the intersection for Elm and Lockwood, we have those circle signs. I was in charge of that. And the signs could have been bigger when we purchased them. We did not realize it until they got up that maybe they could have been a bit larger. Those signs have been up on those poles for at least 12 years. So, and you can't really read them well anymore. So we went through all Adler sign at that time. So you might not even realize they're there, but they're on all four corners as you're driving down Elm, up at the top, and driving down Lockwood.
They're in the middle of the lights.
On the lights.
On the stoplights.
Yes.
Oh, I'm pulling up a Google Street View to figure out.
So what my thought is that when we did them, we thought they were huge. They turned out to be, in terms of scale, small. So we look at increasing them by a little bit of a size. See, that's pretty small. That's it. So spruce that up maybe in our next year. And by the way, the new banners look awesome.
yes, they do.
I mean, they're the
things
best
up.
banners, that I've seen ever.
I'll tell my wife.
I was just gonna say, is Erin there?
No,
Is
she's
she
not.
listening over your shoulder?
No, she's not.
They're really good. I mean, the colors are good. They're bright. Everything is great about it.
Okay, new business. Talked about it, I think. Okay, Mara, city update.
I know we rushed last month, so hopefully I can remember everything. So Le Macaron, I know you guys are anxiously waiting for them to arrive. They are hoping April. They've had some additional inspections. They're working on some final things for the interior. So hopefully next month you'll have them opening up. DD Mao got their permits. They're working on the rest of their interior work, and they're going in where the old Forenza Pizza used to be. Union Bagel has all their permits for their construction in the old Porter Paint location at Elm and Big Bend. We've got a new Wingstop going in down in Yorkshire Plaza. We have a new sushi restaurant going in down in Yorkshire Plaza. The Lona's Little Eats is still on hold. They are still debating the location across the street from the old Subaru dealership. They were wanting to do a drive-through as part of their construction. They initially applied to us for a conditional use permit, but are holding off right now. So we have not had them on for Plan Commission yet. We'll just wait and see. They were supposed to be on for April. Now it looks like they're going to be on for May, possibly. The urgent care, which is going in at Laclede Station and Big Bend, is in the old former Subaru dealership's used car lot and the property next door. They're working on that with the building permits and with us and under review right now. The city fire station has all their permits. They're starting the first phase. They've demolished the 2 homes on either side and are going to start a phased construction. They're going to construct the location, the area where the where they sleep. They're going to do the sleeping quarters, the living quarters first. So then they can move the firefighters from the old building into the new building, and then they tear down that building, and then they can build the rest of the station itself. So they're working on that. The addition at Hickson Middle School is moving along pretty quickly. I saw this morning they were bricking in both the 2-story section, which is going to be where the 8th graders are going to be, as well as they ended up under the current building codes doing a full storm shelter structure. So there used to be that essentially their storm shelter location was the gym. And now there's a whole secondary gym space that actually meets all the shelter requirements for tornadoes and other things, and meets the requirements for all of those students that would be in there. The school district's also doing a bunch of other small projects around the city at the various elementary schools, the middle school, and eventually the high school too, for safety and security and ADA accessibility. So you've probably seen, for some of you, they were doing additional ADA accessibility at Bristol, Edgar Road, I think in Clark. They're working on a couple of the other schools too, but each of them, they have them in 2 phases that they're working on those accessibility issues. We are currently working on a bunch of code amendments. We did some residential code amendments that just finished up at Plan Commission. They're going to be on the city council meeting at the next meeting. And then we are starting to work on some multifamily code amendments. That one I'm going to try to send out to all of you because I think it's important. We're looking at right now in your old Webster district, you're zoned D, commercial, and some of your properties are zoned PC, planned commercial, which allows them to be mixed use. The way your code currently reads, someone can do multifamily in the upper stories or can build a multifamily structure, but only once they get a conditional use permit, even though the code already has some restrictions on how much parking it has and what the setbacks are and how intense it can be. And so it just makes an extra step that makes it more problematic if someone wanted to put a mixed use building in and wanted to do things up above. So what we had looked at is that your district, as well as the C district, we're looking at the possibility of putting multifamily in as an allowed use, as long as it meets a whole series of development restrictions. So it would make it a little bit easier for someone to do a mixed use building, to put residential above commercial, or to put in some secondary multifamily structures in the more walkable areas without having to go through the CUP process, as long as they meet all these restrictions. In the C district, it's not even a conditional use. You can't even get multifamily over a commercial building. So we are going to open those hearings up for the April Plan Commission meeting. It'll probably be with Planning Commission for a couple months and then move it on to City Council. We're also working on a couple other code amendments before the end of the year. It's going to get pretty busy for us. In addition, I'm trying really hard for us to keep up with new construction. We've got a bunch of new houses going. I've got another, I think, 3 demolitions at my next Historic Preservation Commission meeting. They just keep coming in one after the other. I sent out an email about Proposition 1. If you have questions, I know that they put a new video up on the city's website. So if you get a chance and can go on there, I think there's one from Jean at Kind Soap and another one from the mayor. I'm going to share my screen real quick. So if you can see on here, there's 2 videos about Prop 1 that you can click on and learn a little bit more information about Proposition 1. There's also a page that you can click on that gives additional information about the election and has some questions and answers. So if you want to share any of that, that is all available. I feel like, you just finished up budget. The city council is going to start working on their budget. Just as a reminder, they will have their hearing on the budget in the beginning of June to approve it so that we could start our budget year, which starts July 1. I think that's everything right now. I see that David's on. I don't know if he has anything else in terms of a city council update that I'm forgetting. Oh, the redevelopment area. Again, also on the city's website, we're trying to update anything for the redevelopment area. There is nothing new to share right now, but when they do move forward, depending on how everything works, you will get a notification of public hearings before the Plan Commission. That will be their next step. In order to rezone the property, they will go before the Plan Commission with public hearings. If anyone has not had a chance to look on the website, I might take you back to the website. Hold on. I'm gonna share the screen again. So up here at the top, if you didn't do Proposition 1, and you didn't deal with COVID-19, here's the redevelopment project page. They are doing updates on this, but it links you to SG Collaborative. It links you to all the previous town hall presentations and recordings. And then there's a place where you can share comments. So all of that is on here in case anyone needs some additional information on the redevelopment area.
Mara, I think a little ways back, you mentioned somebody going in and something about a drive-through.
Yes, that was Lona's Little Eats, and it's not in your district. It's in Old Orchard.
Okay.
That's in Old Orchard. So in Old Orchard, they're a C zoning, so they can ask for a conditional use permit for a drive-through facility. They do have to get permission from St. Louis County, and county already has given them a whole series of, they want a full traffic study, they want some additional restrictions, and I think that's holding Lona's off at this point.
Okay.
Because it's a lot to pay for all of that information and then to possibly not get approved by county for it after you've done all of that work.
Okay.
Any updates or any news on the Subaru building?
Nothing new on the Subaru building, but I know I've been getting calls about mixed use in that location, which this multifamily not needing a CUP and putting it in as a possible use could be one thing that could encourage redevelopment of that property. We've gotten a lot of calls on a number of different properties, both in your area as well as Old Orchard, about the possibilities of different types of mixed use. A lot of them want to do multifamily above some sort of commercial uses. And a lot of the having to go through the full rezoning for something that seems kind of logical, that wants uses that are already permitted, and the only exception is they can't get the multifamily, is kind of prohibiting further development. So that's why we started looking at the possibility of doing this multifamily code amendment that might help multiple properties around the city for redevelopment.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
Okay. Mara, at your convenience, could you send out that spreadsheet with the budget?
Yes. I will do that. And you want the proposed budget?
Yes.
With his $4,500 for Jazz Festival.
Didn't I say 45,000? I think there was supposed to be another zero, wasn't there?
4th of July is still gonna maybe kind of happen, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Okay, all right.
Still.
Let's hope.
Everyone get your vaccine.
Sorry, what was that, David?
I said, let's hope that 4th of July goes forward. We need it after these past couple months, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be very nice.
I have my vaccine. I'm done.
All
I
right.
have mine.
First shot. Most of my staff, all but one of my staff has managed to get their first shot already.
Good. All right, meeting's adjourned. Next meeting will be on the 27th of April. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all. Stay
Yeah.
safe.
All right, have a good one.
Okay,
Bye.
everybody stay safe.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.